So now, please give a warm welcome to Gina Woke, my fellow heart mom, and a dear friend who inspires me all the time.
Hello, good evening. I too have a script. It's large font, so don't panic. But before I get started, I know Caitlin did mention my village, and I just want to say thank you for being here. This is my village. They got me through some of my darkest days, so without them, I wouldn't probably be standing here. So, thank you. On May 9th, 2019, at approximately 1:20 p.m., my husband and I stared blankly at a NICU practitioner while she wiped tears from her face. She was finally able to mutter these words to us. "Gina and Dan, we're certain your son has a cardiac lesion." The state of shock, confusion, and terror ran through my entire being. I felt my husband grab me as I was sitting, sobbing in the wheelchair, all while trying to decipher diagrams, lines, scribbles, and print out of anatomical hearts. I will never, ever forget the look on our face while delivering this statement to us, knowing that our whole life was changing this very instant. Hello, again. Thank you all so much for coming to this event that I hold near and dear to my heart, no pun intended. My name is Gina Wook, and my husband and I are the proud parents of a heart warrior named Jameson. You can find him on table 3 and 16, and his picture is by the food. I work full-time as a labor and delivery nurse at a local hospital. I'm also a mom to a kindergartner named Gwendolyn, a dog named Rosie, a lover of all things Disney, and I enjoy spending what little free time I have with friends and family. I also happen to be the KHT's third-party fundraising chair. I was thrilled when Caitlin formally asked me to speak at this event. Since being immersed in the Heart family, I have grown so passionate about telling my story and trying to help as many people as I can. To know a Heart warrior is to love them. Who else in this world can face recurrent obstacles with such innocence and resilience? It's never a no at 6:30 in the morning when the speech pathologist comes to feed you, and no matter how incredibly exhausting it is, you try your hardest. You do your absolute best and know that mom and dad are going to get a great report when just 1 more milliliter was eaten than yesterday. It's never a not today when you're forced to sit in the cardiac chair hours after open heart surgery to be sure you're moving as much as you can at weeks, even maybe mere hours old, just to help those tiny little lungs out. Tenacious, brave warriors. My pregnancy with Jameson was relatively uneventful. I did have diet-controlled gestational diabetes, gestational hypertension, and aside from some minor pregnancy woes, feet swallowing nausea, and tiredness, I was so happy and so excited to be pregnant. Jameson was my second child, my little boy, and the last piece to complete our family. May 8th, 2019 came like every other day during my pregnancy, except this time, Jameson decided that it was a wonderful day to have a birthday. I delivered by repeat cesarean section the most beautiful baby boy I'd ever laid my eyes on. At 37 and 3 weeks, he was 7 pounds, 7 ounces, and was screaming mad. I was smitten instantly. At a few hours old, during Jameson's hospital assessment, the nursery practitioner, who also happened to be my coworker, informed me that Jameson had a heart murmur. She went on to explain that it was very loud, which can be reassuring in murmurs due to the nature of the condition. Looking out for me as a mom and a friend, and also being the great practitioner that she was, she reassured me that they would follow up and continue to monitor the murmur for improvement. I reassured my husband, and he smiled and said what he always says concerning healthcare causes: "You got this because I sure don't." Well, sadly enough, this was one time that I didn't have it. The next morning was a blur. It still remains a blur. A nursery pediatrician came into my room at about 9:45 the next day. He listened to Jameson's heart, and within seconds, he stated to the practitioner with him that he wanted an echocardiogram done stat. He confirmed that Jameson had a significant murmur and that he was concerned, but wanted detailed testing before diagnosing him. I froze and got super nauseous. My husband had just left to go get our daughter, who'd only been talking about being a big sister for her entire life, and my parents, who also were anxiously awaiting to hold their newest grandchild. While they took Jameson to the nursery for testing, I chatted with some of my coworkers, and they all helped me relax. There can't be anything wrong, right? I mean, my testing was normal or negative. I did everything right. No one ever said anything to me. It's probably nothing. 3 hours later, I was greeted by Jameson being transported inside an isolette with tubes and oxygen, with 4 of my coworkers from the nurseries and NICUs crying. All of this happening right as my husband and family walked into my room. I hadn't been able to tell them anything yet. The practitioner told me, "Gina, there's something wrong with Jameson's heart. His oxygen levels were really low while he was getting his echo done, and we had to put him on oxygen. I'm so sorry, but he needs to go to the NICU right away," which is the neonatal intensive care unit. Wait, what? I threw myself into a wheelchair less than 12 hours post-op, and my husband and family tried to wrap their heads around everything. I grabbed a coworker to push me down to the NICU as my husband settled our daughter and was meeting me later. When he arrived, this is when we were told that Jameson had a congenital heart defect called tetralogy of Fallot that was not detected on any of my prenatal ultrasounds. This CHD, or congenital heart defect, consists of 4 cardiac defects and would require open heart surgery almost immediately or very soon. May 9th, 2019 through August 21st, 2019, Jameson spent inpatient between University of Maryland's PICU, NICU, and PEDS department. It was 104 days, I'll save you the math. It only took 2 open heart surgeries, necrotizing endocarditis, feeding tubes in the nose, oxygen, countless chest x-rays, several genetic workups and studies, hundreds of echocardiograms, swallowing studies, GI consults, pulmonology consults, hours of feeding therapy, slow flow nipple trials, 4 different brands of bottles, PT, OT, a sternal wound infection with a washout, thousands of hours in the Mamaroo swing, PICC lines, IVs, hundreds of blood draws, prayer, narcotics, antibiotics, heart failure management medications, hundreds of hours being held by nurses and techs during no-nap Jameson days, or just when he needed some extra TLC. Over $900,000 in medical bills, thank goodness for insurance. 30 plus strolls around the unit in the unit stroller, and lots of perseverance, advocation, and determination to bring him home. While at home, our healing and fighting and strengthening did not stop. With the help of the wonderful home health nurses and therapists from Johns Hopkins Children at Home, Jameson got stronger and stronger, and it was almost as if his condition never existed. But how wrong that observation is. Heart kids talk, walk, play, eat, sing, jump, and laugh, all what normal kids do. It's what's on the inside that hurts. Their scars tell their stories, each one a personal battle that they fought. Reading and studying and admiring these scars are truly the representation of meaning of how beauty can come from something so broken. Jameson is still a heart kid, but I'm also so thankful that he's thriving and a typical boy, destroying and climbing everything. He will always be a heart kid, as all the other warriors will be too. It's a lifetime of cardiology appointments. Shout out to Jameson's cardiologist, who I don't see here, but he's great. As well as all the other multidisciplinaries who help keep these heart kids going. They aren't cured, they're repaired, mended if you will. Many children need multiple surgeries and procedures throughout their lifetime, weeks and months of inpatient settings, cardiac valve replacements, cardiac caths, open heart surgeries, trach placements, G-tubes. Why? There has to be a better way. There needs to be something that we can do, create, think of to allow these children to have less invasive operations, heck, multiple operations at that, to promote more cuddle time at home, to thrive and grow with their families. That's where research comes in. That's where funding comes in. That's where advocacy comes in, and that's where you all come in. I was floored to find out that CHDs are the most common birth defect. Surprising, because I thought it was. I also, as I stand before you today, I not knew of one cardiac warrior, never knew of one. But now I have met and know of at least 7 and still communicate with some of their families to this day. Among the 7 warriors that I know of, they represent a 3 of the 40 different types of CHDs. The 3 types that represent are tetralogy of Fallot, hypoplastic left heart syndrome, and transposition of the great arteries. Just being able to only know 7 warriors seems so small, knowing that CHD affects more than 40,000 infants and their families. Surgery doesn't cure them. There's no cure for CHDs. As a matter of fact, little is known about the cause of most of them. According to the American Heart Association, CHDs occur frequently and are often life-threatening, yet research into them is grossly underfunded in relation to the prevalence of the disease. In the USA, twice as many children die from CHDs each year than all forms of childhood cancer combined. Yet funding for pediatric cancer research is 5 times higher than funding for CHDs. Something even more mind-blowing is that CHDs are approximately 60 times more prevalent than childhood cancer. The American Heart Association goes on to say that every dollar the government spends on medical funding, only a fraction of a penny is directed towards CHD research. A fraction of a penny. We must do better. We owe it to these brave boys and girls with little tiny feet and toes, bubbles around their lips, and eyes bright with wonder. However, with the funding we have provided, I'm so proud to announce that in the last decade, death rates for CHD have declined by almost 30% due to advances made through research. So thank you. The KHT is more than just promoting research for CHDs. There are a whole network of support for heart families. They help soften the shock and major adjustment in becoming a heart family, thinking of things your brain isn't capable of processing at the time, covering the cost of hospital parking, a gift card for a coffee or a sub, providing swag bags, as we refer to them, to all heart families containing must-have essentials and toiletries for staying days on end, and providing the University of Maryland PICU with their needs and wishes, such as coloring books and toys, for families and their children. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just a small fraction of what this foundation does for the heart community. I am immensely grateful for linking up with the KHT and for Caitlin and Tommy for creating such an amazing foundation through such heartache they endured. I just know that KHT will continue to flourish and keep Aiden's memory alive. As a heart parent, and I know I speak for them all, thank you both for everything you're doing. I was known for saying it over and over again at the hospital with Jameson, trying to process everything. This is a club that I never wanted to be in. Being in a heart family is being a part of thousands of people's lives, never even knowing them or even getting to meet them. You empathize with their fears because you had them. You empathize with their tears because you've cried them. You empathize with their emotional hugs and squeezes because you gave them. No one can quite understand heart families unless you are one. Caitlin and I chatted on the phone for what seemed like hours, but were merely an hour or so of our first meeting. We shared stories of being a heart parent, family lives, careers, and her vision of the KHT moving forward. We hit it off immediately, or so I'd like to think so. And the rest is history. She shares the same passion and energy as I do in making the KHT the best it can be, and I look forward to so much in the future and what it brings for the foundation. In closing, you guys made it. I want to leave you with this. I happened to be scrolling on a Facebook Heart Warrior page during one of my late night can't sleep moments, and I found this statement, if you will, with no given author. It reads, "I have laid my child in a surgeon's arms. I have slept upright in a hospital chair. I have listened to the beeping of machines and been thankful and have been sad. I've smiled through tears. I have found strength when there wasn't any left." This spoke to my soul to the core, and I knew we would do it all over again. Fight the fight, warriors. This heart journey is challenging. This heart journey is rewarding. This heart journey is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Thank you.